Tensions explode. U.S. Navy sends brutally armed destroyer to challenge China in South China Sea. On August 16, 2025, the U.S. Navy deployed 2 surface combatants into the waters near Scarborough Shoal, just days after an incident involving 2 Chinese vessels colliding while trying to obstruct a smaller Philippine Coast Guard ship. This operation marks the first time in years that U.S. Navy destroyers have operated within the shoal's waters, highlighting rising tensions and competing territorial claims in the South China Sea. The deployment aims to reinforce navigational freedoms and provide reassurance to the Philippines, a key treaty ally, amidst growing concerns over maritime safety. The operation involved the guided missile destroyer USS Higgins, DDG-76, and the littoral combat ship USS Cincinnati, LCS-20. Together, these vessels represent a strategic mix of capabilities, balancing blue water air defense with high-speed maritime maneuverability. The USS Higgins, an Arleigh Burke-class Flight II destroyer, is equipped with the Aegis combat system, boasting advanced radar and a vertical launch system capable of deploying various missile types. In contrast, the USS Cincinnati is a newer Independence-class LCS designed for rapid operations in shallow waters, capable of speeds exceeding 40 knots and equipped for surface warfare and anti-submarine tasks. Operationally, USS Higgins has extensive experience in the region, having participated in freedom of navigation patrols and Tomahawk strike operations. USS Cincinnati, commissioned in 2019, has focused on enhancing presence and maritime security in the Pacific. The combination of these ships allows for effective surveillance and repositioning capabilities in congested areas, along with robust air and strike coverage. The deployment of U.S. naval assets near Scarborough Shoal is strategically significant following the collision of Chinese vessels. It serves multiple purposes. It reassures the Philippines of U.S. commitment under the Mutual Defense Treaty, reinforces adherence to international law, and raises scrutiny of unsafe maneuvers in the region. By asserting navigational rights without escalating tensions, the U.S. aims to manage the current crisis while preserving access to vital maritime routes that facilitate global trade. The joint operation illustrates a calibrated response to regional challenges and enhances coalition dynamics with allies such as Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, all of whom share concerns about maritime safety in the contested waters. The U.S. Navy's strategic presence not only serves to deter potential aggressions but also reinforces allies' positions without closing off avenues for diplomatic engagement. In essence, the recent deployment underscores U.S. resolve to uphold maritime norms and protect its allies. It sends a clear message that unsafe conduct in busy sea lanes will encounter vigilant scrutiny and professional countermeasures. This dual approach highlights U.S. commitment to lawful access and alliance credibility, emphasizing that maritime safety and navigation rights are essential priorities that will not be compromised. Beyond the immediate show of force, the presence of USS Higgins and USS Cincinnati in the Scarborough Shoal is a deliberate signal to Beijing that the United States is prepared to defend not only its own principles but also the sovereignty of its allies. This move comes at a time when the South China Sea has become one of the most militarized maritime zones on the planet, with Chinese-built artificial islands bristling with missile batteries, radar systems, and combat aircraft. By sailing directly into contested waters, the U.S. Navy has made it clear that it will not be intimidated by China's so-called nine-dash-line claims, which have been rejected by international law. For Washington, this is not just about Scarborough Shoal, it's about preserving global maritime norms. If these waters fall under unilateral control, it could set a dangerous precedent for other contested regions around the world. The stakes are enormous. Trillions of dollars worth of trade pass through the South China Sea each year, carrying goods, energy resources, and critical supply chains that fuel the global economy. A single miscalculation here could send shockwaves through markets, trigger regional instability, and even spark direct confrontation between nuclear-armed powers. Military analysts note that the USS Higgins brings a formidable arsenal to the table, capable of launching Tomahawk cruise missiles with pinpoint precision against both land and sea targets, as well as intercepting hostile aircraft and ballistic missiles. Paired with the high-speed, agile USS Cincinnati, the task group is capable of both long-range deterrence and rapid tactical maneuvers in shallow, reef-dense waters where larger vessels struggle to operate. This dual capability makes it a nightmare for any adversary attempting to gain an upper hand through speed or surprise. The timing of the deployment is also significant. Just days earlier, Chinese vessels attempted aggressive maneuvers against a much smaller Philippine Coast Guard ship, a reckless move that resulted in a collision. For the Philippines, a key U.S. treaty ally, the arrival of American warships so soon after the incident is a clear demonstration of Washington's willingness to back its words with military muscle. For China, it's an unmistakable reminder that every act of maritime intimidation will invite a direct and powerful response. As tensions simmer, regional allies are watching closely. Japan, Australia, and New Zealand have all expressed concern over China's increasingly assertive posture, and joint military drills with the U.S. are expected to expand. In the high-stakes chess game of the South China Sea, every deployment, every patrol, and every radar lock-on sends a message. The question now is whether Beijing will double down, or pull back in the face of a resurgent U.S. presence.